Okay, welcome to episode number 6 of OwenCast. So the audio and video on this should be a million times better than the last podcast and the podcast before it, because I'm recording on a Chromebook instead of my 5-year-old crappy laptop. So from now on, I'm going to use this because I did a test and it sounds way better. It's just a million times better. Sorry about the last podcast because you can hear us and what we're saying, but it's kind of hard to tell because like the audio will cut out at like the end of a sentence or something. So sorry about that, but I'll do another one with my mom at some point. So it's not a big deal, but so I'm going to use this from now on, and it also has Zoom on it, so I can do that and it should be good. So yeah. I'm not sure what day I'll be uploading this on. It'll either be up today, which is the 12th Saturday, or I'll wait and upload it next Thursday. And I'm not sure. I think I'll probably just upload it today. And I'm going to stick with having a podcast every Thursday. And then there might be, like this, there'll probably be bonus ones here and there. Until I set like a actual schedule that's like set in stone. But for right now, podcast on Thursdays. And I'm thinking, I just thought of this idea right now, of having Thursday podcasts have a guest, bonus podcasts don't, or maybe bonus podcasts do, so there'll like always be a guest on Thursday or whatever, or something like that. I don't know, it's an idea. But yeah, the audio on this should be a million times better. I don't know why I didn't think of using this before, because my laptop is crappy. And this Chromebook, well, it's not my Chromebook, but I mean, I use it sometimes. It's my dad's. Or, yeah, it is. Yeah, so I think this should be a lot better, and I'm glad I thought of using this. I don't know why I didn't at first. I guess I don't know. Whatever. So anyway, yeah, welcome back to OwenCast episode 6. This is, the third one since I brought it back, and yeah, it's pretty cool. So the time is 2:22 in the afternoon. I'm doing this instead of doing the stuff I should be doing, which is, I don't know, school stuff and washing dishes, but I don't need to do that. But yeah, here we are. So yeah, last episode was okay. The main problem was the audio, so again, sorry about that, but I think what you gonna do? I mean, we just talked about, coronavirus and my childhood and whatever. My childhood's pretty good. But now I'm here to just talk about whatever. I was trying to make a list of topics I could talk about on here, so that it wouldn't just be me saying and another, interjection of that sort. And I guess I should probably pull that list up. Nice thing about Chromebooks is I can pull up Google Docs right here super easy. This is also a million times faster than my laptop. My laptop is really bad. I don't know why. Alright, here we go. Let me see. OwenCast topics. I think I only wrote 2 things down. Oh yeah, I wrote down Dancing with the Stars and Carol Baskin. And I wrote down NBA playoffs. So if you know me personally, you know that I love Dancing with the Stars, and I really enjoy it. And that's true. And I'm going to be watching the new season, which starts on Monday. I think I mentioned that in my last video, in the last podcast, but I'll talk about it again. Carol Baskin's on it, and I'll be watching it. I think you should all watch it too, because it's a good show. Last season they had Sean Spicer on it, and sorry to all my friends who had to hear me talk about Sean Spicer on Dancing with the Stars for, endless amounts of time. But yeah, it's a really good show. I recommend it. And Carol Baskin of Tiger King is on it, so that'll be interesting. There's a bunch of other interesting people on it too, like Johnny Weir and Vernon Davis and various other people. Anne H. Yeah, a lot of people. And let's see. NBA playoffs. Eastern Conference Finals is Miami and Boston, Heat and Celtics, and Western Conference is not set yet. but it's either going to be the Lakers or the Clippers in there, or the Nuggets and the... Or, wait, no, Lakers... Lakers, Clippers. Lakers, Rockets, Clippers, Nuggets. So, there's still a lot of people it could be. Personally, I'd want to see, like, Lakers Heat, because I could see LeBron play his old team. But I'd be happy with anything, really. I really don't care. Because, I'm a Warriors fan, but they're not in it this year. Had the worst record out of every team, I think. But that's okay. They got the number 2 pick. They'll be good next year, I hope. So I don't really have anyone to root for, really. I've kind of been rooting for the Nuggets since they beat the Jazz, because I kind of like the Jazz. But I guess I'll root for, whoever. The Lakers are an interesting team. They're fun to watch for sure, because they got a dynamic lineup, I think, with LeBron and Anthony Davis, and is Dwight Howard still on them? I think Dwight Howard is on the Lakers again. He was, at least. I just didn't see him play when I watched some of their game. And they've got various other players like Caruso, who's fun to watch, and he has his cult following. But yeah, I know some of you probably don't care about NBA at all and don't care about what I'm talking about. But that's okay. So, yeah. I guess what else could I talk about? I guess I could just talk about the future of the podcast in general. So, for sure going to be using just this to record it from now on, because it's a lot better. And I'll be sticking with Thursday uploads, and I want to get some guests on here, and I'm thinking I can use Zoom on here to, get the guests on the podcast. Or I could, do it in real life, but I can't really do that because of COVID and all that. But anyway, if you want to be a guest, let me know, and maybe we can figure something out. I had some people who were going to be on it before I stopped making it back in March. So, we'll see how that goes. We can maybe get some of those people on it. And I should go out and look for guests more, because I haven't really done that. I've just been thinking about who I want to get. I haven't really asked anybody. So, yeah, I should probably do that. If there's anyone you want to see on this podcast, let me know, and I'll try to get them on there. So, yeah, if there's anyone at all, they could be super famous, I'll still ask them. I asked Elon Musk to be on this. Hasn't responded. Wonder why. But, yeah, so... Excuse me. Got corona. This room is full of dust because it's mostly storage stuff. We got these boxes I was pointing out in the last video. Excuse me, sorry about that. Gotta sneeze, I guess. But yeah, this is basically we were gonna turn this room into my room, but then we never did. So it's got a bunch of my stuff in it. Like, it's got my bongos over here. It's got my stuff all over the desk. It's got my books I pointed out in the last one. And books in the back. Those are all Doctor Who novels. They're very good. I'm reading one currently. I can talk about the books I have, I suppose. This book is not mine. It's my dad's. Great Gatsby. Never read it, but might at some point. I haven't read any of these. Where Men Win Glory by John Krakauer is one that I really should read, because Into the Wild by John Krakauer is one of my favorite books. And this one's about Pat Tillman, who was a football player who died in Afghanistan. And I also want to read Under the Banner of Heaven as well, and I'll probably read some of his other books too. Excuse me. Apologies for allergies or whatever they are. Book of basketball. Super into basketball, so that's why. Probably won't read this cover to cover. I'll probably just flip through it. Malay Archipelago, which is by Alfred Russel Wallace, which is basically his story of traveling through and documenting the Malay archipelago, which, if you don't know where that is, you can Google it, because I don't want to explain it. It's an archipelago, which is a group of islands. A Time of Gifts. I don't know what this one is. I mean, I kind of know what this one is about, but my dad just picked it out for me, so I haven't heard of it before he got it for me. But I think it's just about a guy hitchhiking across Europe or something along those lines. And then North Korea Journal by Michael Palin. I like Michael Palin a lot. He's a funny guy of Monty Python. And I should really read this one too, because I always wanted to go to North Korea, which is a weird thing to say, but it's true. So yeah, I got this big stack of books, and now I'm going to put them all back because I don't want to keep them on my desk. But yeah, this is my to-be-read stack, as mentioned in the last podcast. But this is probably at the top of my list. And then other ones I've been reading that I received as gifts. I read Acid for the Children by Flea, because I'm a huge Red Hot Chili Peppers fan. And I'm working on reading Scar Tissue by Anthony Kiedis. I'm reading Turtles All the Way Down by John Green. He's one of my favorite authors. I'm reading a Doctor Who novel as well, The Highlanders. And then I've started some other books, but I haven't gotten very far through most of them. But I might come back to some of them. Yeah, and what other books have I read this year? I read The Green Mile. That was a gift I got. That's a really good book by Stephen King. Yeah, I'll probably make a video about talking about all the books I read, because that's what I was going to do in 2019, and I only made a video for January. But I should probably post the full, I have a Google Doc of everything I read. And I have one for this year too. And so far I've only read 8 books. And last year I read 18. So I'm about 10 behind so far of what I read last year. My guess is it'll probably be around the same. Or maybe one more or one less. So probably like 16, 17. That range. Or maybe 18, 19. But I'm just kind of a slower reader, because I like to take in every word. I don't like just speeding through and skimming through a book. I want to absorb everything, so I don't miss what the author's trying to convey and all that. But yeah, I love books. It's good stuff. I'm gonna try to look up some news and see what there is out there, because I need something to talk about. So let's go to Google News. Donald Trump will visit California on Monday to see wildfires. That's nice. So there's always fires in California, usually, but I haven't really read about it, but I guess like someone was having a gender reveal or a baby shower or something like that, and that's what caused a big explosion of pyrotechnics, which caused more fires, I believe. I'll have to look into that. So I'm pretty sure that's true. But yeah. And then whole West Coast is basically on fire. And then there's all this stuff happening in Portland with their protests and grabbing people off the streets. Not the protesters are doing that. The feds are doing that and putting them in vans and whatnot. So yeah, there's a lot of unrest in the world at the moment, it appears. There's a lot of tension with all the protests, a lot of tension between protesters and the government and the police and all that. There's an election coming up. Vote for Joe Biden. You should all do that. So there's a lot happening in the world. Oh yeah, and coronavirus. I remember when all the George Floyd protests first started, I actually kind of forgot about coronavirus for a while, because all the news was so focused on all of that, as it should be. So it was weird. I actually forgot about the pandemic for a little bit, being distracted by other issues. Personally, I haven't gone to any protests, but that's solely because I don't want to get coronavirus. If there wasn't coronavirus, I would be going to, all the big protests in my area. But, I obviously support them. I support all that. But I don't really want to get coronavirus, and I'd rather play it safe. But if, cases die down, I will probably go out there at some point and protest. Because, it's important. It's a good cause. Everyone should be involved in it. And I try to stay involved. I try to read about things in the news. I don't really post much about it. Like, on Instagram, there's always people posting on their stories full of stuff. And I haven't really done that, but mostly it's just because Instagram's not really my platform for sharing things. I just don't really post on there much in general. I do sometimes, but yeah, YouTube mostly is. So I'll say it in this podcast. Everyone go vote. We should change the whole police department, police reform, all of that. Get out there and protest if you want, because we need change in America. So yeah, vote for Joe Biden 2020. He's not the best person for the job, but he's better than Donald Trump. So yeah, I don't usually talk about politics on here, but there's a little for you. So yeah, do all that. And yeah, so I guess I could move to a lighter topic now, something a little bit better, but the news is mostly sad stuff. Let me see if there's anything interesting. It's just more. Oh, there's another hurricane. That's nice. Yeah. So I want to get more guests on here, as I've mentioned in every podcast since I restarted this. So I'm thinking I need to get a guest before next Thursday. So let me know if you want to be on this, and I'll put you on it, hopefully. And it'll most likely be over Zoom. So if you have Zoom and you want to be on my podcast, let me know and we can figure it out. And I'll try to look for some interesting people, maybe some famous people or something. Famous people. But someone who's, an expert in a certain field or something along those lines would be interesting to have. So, yeah, I definitely want to get more interesting people. Not that the people I've had on weren't interesting, but I would like to have more interesting people on. Not more interesting than the people I've already had. That'd be cool too. But you know what I'm saying? I should put this book back. I don't know what that book is. What else could I talk about? I have a lot of stuff on my desk here. I have these mini canvases for making art, along with oil pastels, because I do art. I don't know if I'll show my art on camera here, but I might show it at some point. I'll show you one piece of art I created a while back. Not a while back, but kind of a while. Is this one. It's pretty neat. That's all you'll get to see. You can't see it on camera, but I have a huge stack of oil pastel stuff on paper off camera there. Right there. On top of that box of DVDs. So yeah. I have a lot of art things. My back is starting to hurt from sitting in this chair. It's so far forward I have to sit up straight, which is not something I normally do. Because my posture is not the greatest, but that's fine. So anyway, yeah, I like creating art, and I suppose a podcast is art in a way. It's not traditionally what you think of when you hear art, but I suppose so. I suppose it's art, and I enjoy doing it, so yeah, I'll continue doing this until I feel like I don't really want to do it anymore. Which, with me, who knows when that'll be. I could stop after this episode, but I don't intend on that. I want to get to, 2,000 episodes, and then I'll stop. Just like Joe Rogan. Not really. He's in his new studio now in Texas, and everyone hates it. Yeah, I don't know if anyone who watches my videos cares about Joe Rogan, but I don't mind his new studio. doesn't look that bad to me. But, everyone on the internet's hateful and they want to find, reasons to dislike everything. But, that's how it is on the internet. There's always going to be someone that disagrees with your opinion, or there's always someone who's going to hate whatever you're creating. That's just human nature, I think. Conflict is also human nature, I believe. So, yeah. It's pretty nice out there on the internet. I've been trying to be off the internet somewhat. I mean, I've kind of been failing, but I've been trying to live less online and live more in the real world. But if there was no pandemic, that'd be a lot easier. But, there is a pandemic, so I have quite a lot of free time, and I've had quite a lot of free time for 6 months now. As of tomorrow, it'll be 6 months for me since I started, because it was March 13th. So I believe that's 6 months. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, 6 months. It's a long time. Here's to 6 more months. Probably. I mean, who knows? But, I'm kind of used to it now. It's just how my life is. It's boring. But, it could be worse. I could be in prison, or, I could be dead, or I could be, getting shot at, or something like that. So I'm grateful for, what I have. And, yeah. It's a crazy world we live in. And I know in like 10 years things will be different, so. I mean, I'm not saying it'll take 10 years for this to end. I'm saying in 10 years the whole world is going to look different anyway. Because change is a natural thing that just happens in the world, so I try not to get too worried about it. But the hard part is, it being so uncertain. Like, are we going to do this for another few months because we're going to get a vaccine soon, or are we going to do this for another year because stuff's going to go wrong and the government's not going to let us whatever. So, yeah, there's a lot of uncertainty in what's going to happen and all that. And I think that's also what gets people a lot of the time. But personally, I've been dealing with it okay. Yeah. I've just been trying to find things to fill my time. So, I'm just messing with a cabinet down here that I have this on. I have this is a large stack of poems and stuff I've written. I suppose it's sort of, you could call it poetry. Yeah, it's poetry. But it's also like stream of consciousness things I just write. There's a lot down here. What's this? It's fishing lures that I found on the ground. I actually have one that I need to put in here. I don't know why, I just started collecting fishing lures that I find. Gotta do something. Though, that's not a hobby that began during quarantine. It was long before it. Yeah, I've only been fishing once or twice in my life, but it's really fun. And I would definitely want to go again sometime. So hit me up if you want to go fishing. Oh god, what else is in here? I have a bunch of foreign money. I have a Costa Rican dollar, or $5, but it's actually -5 because it costs more to make it or whatever, something like that. A friend gave me that. Thank you. You know who you are. So yeah, I got a lot of stuff, a lot of crap lying around, like this training knife I just picked up from a class I used to do. I just hit myself in the face with that lightly. I used to be pretty good with this. I used to kill people all the time. There's this one trick. It was for a stage combat class, and so like it's fighting for theater. And there's this one trick where you go like this, and then you grab the person's arm and then you pull it up. It's called the fillet. It's pretty cool. I got good at that one. That class was fun. We would do this thing where we would like when you do a fake punch, you go like past the person's face like this, and they go to the direction that it looks like, and they do a thing called a nap, I believe. I think that's what it's called, which is where you clap your hands as loud as you can, and you go like this, so it looks like you got hit and it has a noise. And we would do that so much in class. Every day when I would come home, I would just be clapping all day long, trying to see how loud I could clap. And my hands were so red, and my whole family was annoyed by me clapping. Yeah, I've been doing theater since I was really young. I was like, I believe I was 8 when I first did theater in 2011. Yeah, I would have been 8 because I was born in 03. But I took that class when I was like 12 in 2015. Yeah, I think it would have been late 2015, early 2016, something like that. And it was a fun class. I enjoyed it. And I did a performance of a scene from Hamlet with this other kid, and it was fun, yeah. It was a good class. I wasn't Hamlet, I think he was. I was whoever Hamlet's adversary is. I have never read it. I am not familiar with a lot of Shakespeare. Just a little bit. And yeah, so that was a fun class. I did that only once, but it was enjoyable, for sure. Yeah, I don't have too much else to talk about. I mean, I can just kind of make stuff up, but I'll probably go for like another few minutes here just so it's a little bit longer than the last one I did with just me, because I'd like the times of these podcasts to be a little bit more consistent, because I looked back at all the episodes, and they're each like a pretty big difference in time. Like, first one is 33 minutes, second one is 56 minutes, and then I think the third one is like an hour and 36 minutes, maybe? Something like that. And then, it's back down to 25 minutes for the one with just me, and then up to 40 minutes. So I want to kind of get in a zone where, okay, they're all kind of this area between, 25 and whatnot. But generally, I think 40 to an hour is a good length. This one might be a little shorter. I'll probably cut it off at like 35 or something like that. I'm not exactly sure. I'll just stop when I feel like I want to stop. But generally, I'd like to get them to a more consistent length. So when I get guests, I can be like, okay, I do podcasts for this long in this slot of time. And then like, okay, we'll do it for 40 minutes or whatever. Yeah. Because the one with my mom was like 41 minutes or something like that. And the one before that was only like 25 minutes, which, I mean, isn't bad, but it's kind of short. And right now I'm at just about 28 minutes, which is okay. I don't know when I'll turn it off, but yep. So yeah, I would want to get it to a more consistent time. Because like on other podcasts, they usually have like, well, I guess on Joe Rogan's, it's anywhere from an hour to 5+. And other podcasts, sometimes they're shorter, like it's between a half hour and an hour. Some podcasts are like 10 minutes, and it's like, is that really a podcast, or is it just a quick interview? Because I feel like podcast is long form type of content. Yeah. But generally, I think between 25 minutes and an hour and a half is a good length. I mean, if I have a guest that I talk to for a long time, then so be it. I'm not going to say this is exactly how long it's going to be every episode, but I'd like to have a general kind of length. And also, I was looking on the YouTube Studio app, which I've mentioned a few times now. The average listen time for the podcast is not very long, usually like 5 or 10 minutes. And I think that's because some people watch only a few minutes and some people listen to the whole longer podcast. But it seems like people are listening to the whole thing mostly, but not exactly so. But I'm still going to release them at the full length, and people can listen or they can not listen. It doesn't really matter to me. But yeah. So thank you all for watching this one. There should be another one out next Thursday. Today's Saturday, so this is like a bonus one. But there should be one up next Thursday. Maybe next Saturday? I don't know. Thursday and Saturdays are kind of my free days, so there might be ones then. So we'll see how it goes. We'll just kind of play it by ear, and we'll see how things go. So yeah, I want to come up with some more segments for this, so there's not too much there's not really any dead air, like just of me not talking during this, but I want to make sure I have stuff to talk about. So if there's anything you want me to talk about, comment it down below. And yeah, so thank you all for watching. Stay tuned for another episode of OwenCast coming Thursday. Bye.